Buenos días. Durante 24 meses hemos desarrollado un proyecto financiado con fondos de la...
Hello. We carried out a project co-funded by the European Union over the period of 24 months, and we concentrated on the impact of the mobility package on transport workers. Our project was designed to strengthen the enforcement of the directives that relate to the posting of workers. We also try to analyze the impact of the new regulations on the road transport sector, and we focused mostly on truck drivers. In this project, a number of countries were involved, from Italy, Poland, Croatia, Spain, Greece, and Norway. Could you please introduce yourself, and could you please introduce your organization? Hello, my name is Lukasz Osinski. I'm the president of the Central European Chamber of Commerce. Our chamber represents the interests of its members associated in that chamber. We have roughly 300,000 individual members. The most tasks of the chamber is to create partnerships between companies, organizations in Poland, but also internationally. We have a lot of experience, and we can provide top quality services to our members. Thank you very much for your introduction. During this project, every partner was able to conduct some research to analyze the implementation of the directive relating to the posting of workers. And you examined the impact of the mobility package on the workers in the transport sector in the individual countries. Could you please share with us some of your findings from the research conducted in Poland? One of the key aspects we identified during our research is that the awareness of workers of the European directives, but also Polish regulations, is very low. Among the employers, the awareness of the posting directive is a bit better, but there are also some gaps in their knowledge. Employers see the implementation of the regulations, both general and in the road transport sector, differently. Both you and myself now are talking about the impact of the mobility package on the workers, but we still have not said what the mobility package consists of. What is the mobility package? Can you please explain it in your words? A mobility package is a set of regulations of the European Union that are designed to unify the rules in the road transport sector in the European Union. It also aims to improve the working conditions of the workers, of drivers. It also wants to enhance the safety on roads and to, of course, ensure fair competition among the driving or truck companies in the EU. All right, that means the mobility package actually wants to achieve two missions. On the one hand, it wants to safeguard the adequate working conditions, and on the other hand, it wants to ensure a fair competition between road transport companies. Do you believe that these guarantees are actually implemented in your country? What do you think? What's your opinion about this? And do they really guarantee what they promise to guarantee? The directives are applied in our country, but it is a complex issue and it depends on many factors. For example, it depends on how well the individual member states adhere to the regulations. It also depends on the collaboration between states. And there are some challenges in practice. And there can be some differences between the individual member states. And it's very difficult for me to tell you about other EU member states. But in Poland, the mobility package is applied. However, it poses a lot of challenges. And it's difficult to adapt the road transport sector to these regulations. And the key entity that enforces that regulation in Poland is the Polish Inspection of Road Transport. And they regularly perform on the road inspections to ensure that both the companies and the drivers respect the regulations relating to the driving time and rest times.
Una de las novedades más importantes que incorpora este paquete de movilidad es la...
There are some new concepts that the mobility package introduces, and one of them is the definition of a posted worker. Can you please tell us a bit what the new definition of a posted worker is? In the road transport, of course, and what requirements must be met so that a trip or a journey can be classified as posting. A new act has been introduced in July 2023 that regulates the conditions of work in the road transport. And also it introduces a set of obligations on the drivers and the companies. There are also some fines for not respecting the regulations. When a driver actually performs international operations to a country that is an EU member state, that's called posting. Also, they need to receive a remuneration, and there are some additional benefits that they must receive. And also there are some operations called cross-trade. If a driver is employed by a company based in Poland and performs services in a member state, they must be provided with the working condition of the host country. And if you post a driver, then the employer must inform the driver about their rights and obligations. A driver performing transport operations within a specific time in a member state of the European Union, they are called the posted worker.
En este nuevo marco de desplazamiento de trabajadores, otra de las novedades importantes de este paquete de movilidad.
Another new concept introduced by the mobility package is also, and you also commented on that, are the guarantees provided to the driver in the host country. You mentioned that briefly, but could you please elaborate on that? What are these guarantees in the host country? According to our regulations, a posted worker must have the following guarantees in the host country. First of all, remuneration and working conditions of the host country. The employer must pay the costs of posting, including accommodation and food costs. the employer has also the obligation to inform the drivers about the conditions of posting, about their rights and obligations under the local regulations. And before the posting, the employer must also report that driver to regulatory agencies using the IMI system. And the worker must receive documentation that confirm that they are a posted worker, including a special declaration on the posting of worker. They also must have an employment contract, they must have a schedule of work, and they also must have a proof that some unloading or loading operations have taken place. Speaking about these guarantees provided under the new regulations, some additional conditions have been introduced, for example, the minimum rest time and the maximum driving time. And some specific regulations were introduced relating to the use of tachographs. Could you please provide us with some specific information about those aspects? There is a ban on spending your rest time within the driver's cabin. The rest, the working time should not be longer than 48 hours. And also when drivers rest, they must do so in a place that has some sanitary facilities. And during the day, a driver must have at least 11 hours of rest. And they can drive for not longer than 9 hours. And twice a week, this time can be extended to 10 hours. And the weekly working time cannot be longer than 56 hours. And speaking about the tachographs, according to the new regulations, the drivers must register on the tachograph, on the so-called smart electronic tachographs every time they cross the border. The new tachographs will register this automatically, and it will simplify procedures and will eliminate errors. This tachographs will also record the time where goods were loaded or unloaded. And actually, the new smart tachographs have become obligatory in 2023, and they're equipped in some lorries, for example, in Norway. The existing tachographs will need to be replaced in the second half of 2024. We have been also talking about some new ideas in the mobility package. There is one additional new thing. It's about the reporting of posting of a worker. So what requirements must be met by a company so that they report a posted worker appropriately? For example, during a journey, the driver must carry some documents with them, and these documents must be provided to that driver by the employer. What documents are meant here? Could you tell us? When a worker is posted, they need to carry some documents with them to confirm that they have been posted in accordance with the mobility package. So what they must have is the tachograph documents, data recorded by the tachoman, ID, employment contract, and also some documents that enable an inspection bodies to check whether this posted worker has been posted correctly and their working conditions are appropriate. I have some more questions to you. And the first one is about the mobility package, naturally. Under the package, posted workers are guaranteed to receive, are under some additional obligations. In the host country, the posted worker must present a set of documents to prove that they are a posted worker. What kind of documents are these? So, once the journey is over, then the employer must give to the driver special documents with details of the journey, records from the tachograph, driver's log, employment contract, proof of remuneration payment, proof of unloading and loading operations, such as e-CRM and other consignment documents. And our interview is coming to an end, and I would like you to tell me, you have already shared some issues with us about the challenges you are facing when implementing the mobility package, but can you please share us some suggestions or recommendations? What else could be done to improve the situation in Poland in terms of implementing these regulations under the mobility package and ultimately to improve the situation of transport sector workers? Based on our research, the key aspect is to simply launch information campaigns about the mobility package. We should inform people about the workers' rights, about the resting periods, about the driving times. The drivers and companies must simply be aware of the regulations and consequences of not complying with them. Thank you very much for this, Łukasz. Thank you for this interview. I'm sure the information you shared with us will be very useful for every social partner, every worker, every employer, but also a body, an official authority that will view this podcast one day. Thank you very much. And I'm sure this podcast will also be used to improve the awareness among workers and among employers in the road transport sector of these vital issues. Thank you very much, Łukasz.